Welcome to the show. Now, online news publisher, rights activist and politician Omoyele Sowore has declared interest to run for the 2023 presidential election. Sowore says his decision to run for the presidential office again comes after due consultation on the plight of Nigerians, especially the teeming population of unemployed youths. He says his system of governance will focus on workers' welfare, free education for young people, job creation and pension reforms. The rights activist is contesting on the platform of the African Action Congress, AAC. Let's listen to him.
As soon as I become the president of Nigeria, because it's not a matter of whether I will be, you are talking to the first democratically elected, sound president of Nigeria. But we are going to make sure that Nigeria works for everybody. As soon as I become sworn in, come June 12, 2023, I will release all political detainees, particularly Kanu and Sunday Igboho, and we are saying that we are going to reform the pension system in such a way that before you retire, your first gratuity is transferred to you. You get it as an alert. You don't have to leave your house. And subsequently, your monthly pensions are paid to you before the 25th of the month. You deserve it because you work for it.
Well, I'm now being joined by the dogged fighter and presidential aspirant of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore. So good to have you here, Omoyele.
Thank you.
And you have lofty ideas here talking about all of this. Let me start by asking you where you hope to get all the monies from to be able to reach some of this, to be able to do some of these things that you have stated, including paying 100,000 naira as minimum wage to workers.
Well, thank you for having me. And this question comes up all the time from journalists. They ask, where do you get the money from? It comes from some economists, where do you get the money from? And my answer is, where do we get the money from that are stolen and exported out of this country on a daily basis? Where do you get the money from to buy $2.5 billion worth of shares from a private refinery that just opened in Lagos? Where do you get the money from to build houses that are empty in Abuja, unoccupied by politicians? Where do they get the money from to send their children to universities where they pay £100,000 a year without planting cocoa or selling anything? Where do we get the money from to build all the mansions all over the world? Where do you get the money from to build houses in Dubai that you don't live in for more than 6 times in a year? Where do you get the money from to buy all the automobiles? Where do you get the money from?
So you think Nigeria will save more money from corruption, actually, and you fight corruption to get those monies?
It's not about fighting corruption. To get money, you also have to make money. And to make money, you have to invest in people. That is why one of our focal points of making this country a great country is investing in education. One person, well-trained, one child, well-trained, can create a Facebook that will be richer than the whole of West Africa.
Well, that would be a private company.
Well, I'm just saying, but even, look, people talk about private investments all the time. And I'm not avoiding your question. I'm just saying that, our problem in Nigeria is not wealth creation. It's equitable distribution of the wealth that has been our problem. Had we invested the little, as they call it, that we make in our people, we would have enough to go around. But when you have a country that is held to ransom by greedy people, you can never have enough. In fact, they are the ones who ask us, where would you get the money from? People in the Senate ask us, where would you get the money from? But we are paying them 14 million naira a month, an average member of the Nigerian Senate. And you are paying a Nigerian worker who works 5 days a week, 30,000 naira. And if he has to work 30,000 naira for his entire life, he worked for 38 years before he can make 14 million naira.
Well, that figure has always been disputed by the National Assembly management every now and then. It's not disputed. Despite even some lawmakers coming out to actually make that
why is it that it is secret, that they can't tell you how much they make. It's because they know that this is not disputable.
Well, the basic salaries, we already know that one. As
we are talking about their take-home pay.
Yeah.
It's different, and the take-home pay of a Nigerian worker is any 30,000 naira per month. Is not even up to 30,000 naira by the time they make all the deductions.
Very interesting indeed.
Yes.
Now, let me take you up on this issue of you wanting to be president.
Yes.
Why has it been difficult for Nigeria to actually have someone who is either a technocrat or younger person that's full of ideas that can be able to revolutionize the country and make it be the sort of country that, we all dream of? Because Nigerians love good things, but it's been difficult for them to get a leader that will drive them into those good things that they want.
Because the leaders who have been running Nigeria since 1960 or even way beyond, including the colonial masters, had designed Nigeria to fail like this. When they were handing over power to the new leaders, they made sure that they handed over power to only the people they could trust. When they left, of course, Nigeria fell apart and there was a civil war and the military came. The military had some of the most incompetent people. We fought them on the streets, and we found out that they were not interested in the future of the country. They were interested in themselves. And when the military had to leave for the first time in 1979, they also made sure they handed over to somebody they could trust, Alhaji Shehu Shagari, who never wanted to be president. The Babafemi Awolowo, who really wanted to be president, was edged out with some mathematical calculation that's never been seen anywhere else today.
The 12th to 3rd controversy.
And then came Buhari in 1983. He was kicked out by one of his boys. When the man known as Maradona, who is now based in Mina, was leaving, he also ensured that he handed over power only to the person he could trust, the person who did not participate in the election he himself organized, that was adjudged free and fair. So you move on to 1999, which is when this democracy that we're talking about started. They also made sure that they handed over to someone they could trust. Let me tell you how they did it very quickly. When Abacha died, Abiola was in prison, Olusegun Obasanjo was in prison. Abiola was not convicted of any crime. Olusegun Obasanjo had been convicted of a crime. Well, not a crime he committed. Why was it that it was difficult to release election that a person that has already won the election, but it was easy to release somebody who didn't participate in the election, and the man who won the election eventually died, and the man who did not participate in the election was freed, given all the money, rehabilitated, and made the president? It was because they needed to hand over to someone they could trust.
Yeah, but we've gone on since 1999 up till now. Why are we still blaming the military? A lot of young Nigerians will tell you that you politicians don't have any excuse now because we've been practicing democracy since 1999.
I am sorry to say that we have not been practicing democracy. We are practicing a brand of democracy that I love to refer to as morontocracy.
Interesting. Now,
yes.
What does that mean?
When morons hijack the democratic process.
Well, people who have been voting, now you can't say that this sort of people who have been voting don't have the right to take their decision. Look at the last election. You contested in 2019.
Yes.
You only had 33,953 votes by coming 5th and all of that. Is it because you were unable to convince a lot of Nigerians to see things your own way?
No. It was because there was no election in 2019.
They are angry with voters for not giving you the opportunity.
Well, who voted? Nobody voted.
Well,
they just allocated
and
numbers.
That's why you got 33,000.
No, I have challenged them, INEC, to tell us how they came about the 33,000. Do you know what they did to me? They clamped me into jail.
Well,
yes,
it wasn't directly
because they said I wanted
that.
to overthrow the government that was selected in 2019. I'm saying it categorically. I've said it under oath. I've said it inside jail, in dark, in light, that there was no election in 2019. And they've not been able to dispute it.
Majority of Nigerians will not agree with you.
Where do you get the majority from?
Well, because it is that we are running a
That's
democracy.
That's why we're worried about the democracy. It should be majority rule. But this is minority rule.
If the majority decide to go with one political party, then it means the other political parties were not trusted. Now tell us about the African Action Congress, your political party. There's this accusation that you are the BOT chairman, you're the national chairman, and you are still the presidential aspirant now. But last time you were the presidential candidate of the party. Yeah. How come it doesn't look like you're democratic in your own party?
No, it's not true.
Okay.
the party, before you can register a party, you have to go to INEC. So we registered this party in 2018. INEC came to our convention, which was live streamed in Lagos. And at the convention, the party was about 2 months old when we had the convention. And I was the one with some other persons who had formed the party and registered it underground, because no political party, even though there were 79 of them in 2018, was willing to accept me to even be a member. So they were too scared. So when eventually we did, INEC knew all the members. They knew the executives of the party. I was the interim chairman. I was asked to continue as interim chairman of the party. And we went through that to the election. I was a candidate of the party. This was live streamed, there's no doubt about it. But the party has its own BOT members. INEC has a list of them. It has a secretary who eventually sold out and claimed that he was chairman after I was arrested and detained. You know, it has treasurer. So don't listen to all those lies that are promoted by our adversaries.
Yeah, I mean, because it's still a subject of even online debate where people are saying that, look, it looks like Sowore is not promoting internal democracy in AAC,
it's not true.
But he's promising Nigerians democracy if he becomes president.
It is the people who do consensus democracy that don't practice internal democracy. People, they practice what they call gunboat democracy.
So who's the national chairman of the AAC now at the moment?
I'm the national chairman, interim national chairman, because we haven't had a convention before they try to hijack the party. And after that, I was arrested and detained by the government for months. So, and then the government sponsored some people to hijack the party, as they usually do with parties that they're uncomfortable with. So that's where we are. And as soon as that is resolved, we'll go into
so the AAC is on sound footing at the moment.
Absolutely.
To take you to 2023.
There's no question about it. That's why they're scared.
Very interesting. Yes. I'll just ask you to hold on there.
Yes.
And when we come back, we'll talk about the young people of this country, how you're angry that the young people are not doing the best that they can compared to pre-independent Nigerian youths. You're still watching the Arise interview. When we come back, we'll have this discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and my guest is still the presidential aspirant of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, who is a publisher and is an activist. I mean, so many things at once, and he's still here with me. Tell us about how angry you are with the Nigerian youths. I mean, you were saying that the young people are failing the country. Because if you look at pre-independence Nigeria, a lot of young people actually drove that process, yes, and even after independence.
Well, you know, what was so sad about it is that even before independence, in 1925, the first most progressive, most radical, reform-minded organization was the Nigerian Youth Movement. And it was led by a number of persons, but I can remember H.O. Davis, and they were based in Lagos, and they had colonial people to deal with. And they drove that process up until independence, you know, even though the leadership changed and more groups came in. And when you look at independence, all the persons who were independent leaders were mostly in their 20s. You know, the Awolowos of this world weren't as old as I am. I'm 51 years old now. So when I look at young people and what they have decided to do to their own future and destinies in becoming special assistants, you know, influencers, thugs, you know, to carry ballot papers and boxes, and carrying, you know, on as if everything is okay. Of course, I wasn't happy. And one of the things I wasn't even happy about was when some young people had to go and beg the elders that they want the young to run, not too young to run. And I said it was not necessary. If you want power, you go for it, you take it. And since we had not too young to run, we haven't found a young person who emerged from that process as a credible alternative to the young people, some who are terrible, as these leaders that we're talking about. So the truth is that young people had progressively degenerated within the political space in Nigeria. And it was necessary to speak to that. And then there have been people who have been young. Some of the best newspapers in this country were created by Nnamdi Azikiwe. You know, I think people still talk about it, the West African pilot, I think. And
Yeah,
Obafemi Awolowo in
set up by Zik.
1959 or thereabout started the Nigerian Tribune. So there's nothing out there that young people couldn't have done. We could have taken this country to the best levels and a competitive level on the continent of Africa and the world had we not just regressed from making the progress that started. When even the military came, Yakubu Gowon was 29, 30 years old. He got married while he was...
I mean, we had one of the youngest military head of state.
Even the Babangidas of this world, when they were in their 40s, when Buhari first came, he was 40 years old.
And that's the problem that we have, Sowore, in the country.
Yes.
A lot of people are saying, the elderly ones, especially when I'm having conversations with them, they keep telling me that, let's take a look at what happened in the past. Young people came in as military officers, right, from Nzogu and all of that. They were young people, and let's see how they were able to plunge Nigeria into a war. So it's been difficult for the elderly ones to trust younger people again. If the younger people had the powers that they had, even with the military fiat that they could do anything to better the country, and they couldn't manage the situation well, is it under a democracy that that power should be entrusted to them easily?
It wasn't young people that plunged Nigeria into war.
Well, Gowon and Ojukwu actually went to war, and they were young people.
Because they were marionettes in the hands of the colonial masters, the West and the Eastern Bloc at that time.
That still doesn't remove the fact that they were young people.
So you see, you should know that when wars are fought, it's never fought by the people who start the war in the first place. They will create the idea, the agenda, and they will ask you to go. They ask young people always to go and fight the war. It's the same thing with America. You know, old people plan wars and they make young people fight it. It's the same thing everywhere. But what we're saying for Nigerian young people is that, at least by now, there's enough materials out there for you to understand that you're capable of taking over from these people. Look at the insults. They are blaming us for not organizing ourselves because they have weaponized hunger. They've destroyed education over the years, made people unemployable, plus being unemployed. And then they turn around and blame you. So in 2022, it's when you look at the convention of APC, the part of it that I watched, almost everybody was on a walking stick, you know, of all the elders that stayed up there. And I don't have anything against old people.
Not really.
I just have serious issues with old ideas.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, very interesting indeed. Tell us how you are a representation of the new Nigeria, the young people want to see, and what difference you will make. Let's start from the issue of the universities being shut down. I mean, it's a total collapse right now. Both the academic and non-academic staff are all at home. Tell us what you do differently from the APC administration.
So, the investment that we need to make is what is causing the problem. The lecturers who are on strike, you know, have made it very clear since people thought it was since 2003 that they've been having the agreement since perhaps the year that I entered university or even before it. And what did they ask for? For a particular amount of money to be invested in the educational sector. At the point it was 3 billion naira only. The government kept reviewing the agreement. We can't invest this. You're asking for too much. You are greedy. If we give you the money, other sectors will ask for more. And now, I don't know how much they are asking for, but I referred to it earlier on, that we are investing $2.5 billion in a private firm, petrochemical firm. Why can't we take that money and give the educational sector?
So that's what you will do?
Of course. I won't invest Nigeria's wealth or revenue in Dangote refinery when lecturers are on strike. I'll give it to the lecturers. It's actually an
investment because the country is going to recoup those investments later on. Who are you going
to recoup it from? The ones that we did bailing out banks that were mismanaged, where do you recoup it from?
Okay.
Yeah, the loans that we didn't owe, that we paid under Obasanjo, that they told you and me that we will be recouping $1 billion every year from. Where's the dime or kobo that you are getting from?
Okay, interesting. As we try to round off this conversation, Sowore, tell me if you believe in the electoral process of the country, considering the new electoral law, and how confident you are alongside other Nigerians that the 2023 general election will bring out the best among us as president.
My only confidence and my hope is that young people will not just go and take PVC, which is basically a poverty verification card these days.
Interesting.
Yes, but that they will say to INEC and the government that if we vote and our votes don't count, you should expect us no longer to vote with our terms, we'll vote with our feet. The same thing you saw during NSAS. That will be charge play. It's not a threat of violence. It's for people not to just say, go and collect PVC. So what? After you collect PVC on election day, talks come around, they shoot at you like they did in Kogi. They drive everybody away. INEC compiles some results. They say that this is the winner. Well, and when you compare, they say go to court.
We always have
the judges are waiting
here
to make
and
money.
there
Yes.
and all of that, the judiciary to intervene.
So I have a problem with the composition of INEC. It's already a partisan body, and this place is racked with corruption.
But you still want to stand for election with this body actually?
I'm standing as a revolutionary party. You know, let me tell you.
Okay, very quickly.
The ANC in South Africa had been in existence since 1928 or thereabout. They didn't win an election until 1994, but they never stopped being a party. You know, I'm not saying that we can't win this election. I actually want us to defeat these old hags in this election. And that's why I'm calling on the young people to all join hands together. Not to see it also as a partisan issue, but to see it as an existential issue.
And what if the young people decide not to vote for you and they don't think you are the representation of their dreams? What would you say?
There's nobody who can say that young people want to continue in misery and poverty.
Yeah, but they could vote for someone else who they feel is better than you. What will you do?
Who is better than me amongst the people who are running around now? Tell me. This is between me and you. It's the reason why we say don't just leave this table for interviews alone. Let's start debates now.
And you're prepared for one?
Nobody can stand me if it's a one-on-one debate. I guarantee you that.
Okay, they
won't even dare come to the studio if I know that I'll be there.
How confident are you that the AAC will be a strong party in 2023 general election to challenge an APC and a PDP that has, offices spread all through the nation? AAC does seem to be strong in Abuja and Lagos.
It's not true. We have representation in fact, you cannot be registered as a party if you are not represented in all the states and a good number of local government. What has been the issue is that people are not prepared to organize free and fair elections. If you do, you'll be surprised and shocked at how many young people want to kick these guys out. PDP is struggling, APC is struggling because they have become illegitimate vehicles for the aspirations of our people. And our people, young people, old people, are looking for a different route to get out of the miserable situation that these major political parties have put them in. And AAC is going to be that hope, is the way out of this ticket. Okay,
very interesting indeed. We must thank you so much. Omoyele Sowore is the interim national chairman of the African Action Congress and then the presidential aspirant on that party. We don't know if another presidential aspirant may come on the AAC, but you're the only one we know for now. Yes. So we must thank you so much for being on.